To stay free from evil curses, one commonly believes you just need to steer clear of a few things like, for example, creepy haunted dolls, chain emails from the mid-90s, ancient Egyptian tombs, warlocks and witches. And for the record, by witches I don't mean single aging millennial women that watched a few TikToks about hexes. The thing about curses is that they can get you when you least suspect it. You can pretty much catch a curse from, well, anything. From that creepy, glitchy Legend of Zelda cartridge you bought at the local flea market, to catching a curse from a 5,300-year-old frozen corpse. We'll be talking about the latter, of course, as you may have deducted from the title of the video. You did read the title right. You really shouldn't be just clicking on videos without reading the title. That's how you end up in a cult. Anyway, this handsome devil is Otzi, a natural ice mummy discovered in 1991 in the Ostal Alps between Italy and Austria. Initially assumed to be a more recent mountaineering casualty when two German hikers discovered the frozen corpse, it was later determined Otzi was quite a bit older than first assumed. Like 5 millennia older. Of course, curious scientists quickly scooped him out of the ice and performed a myriad of tests on the dried up leathery human popsicle. Turns out, Otzi was a middle-aged man from the Copper Age, not only making him one of the oldest and best preserved human bodies, but also an even more rarer case of a naturally preserved body rather than artificial mummification. Basically, he's an ice mummy. Since being exposed to the modern world, more in-depth tests have revealed a lot more details about Otzi. This short king, being around 160 centimeters tall, was most likely a hunter or herder, was lactose intolerant, had arthritis, parasites and worn joints. You and me both, buddy. Genetically, he's close to early European farmers. Nowadays, the only thing we don't know yet is if he was an ass or a boob guy. How did our ancient friend meet his early frosty demise, you ask? Well, it seems Otzi was a victim of humanity's age-old favorite pastime, murder. An arrowhead embedded in his left shoulder, severing an artery, and added signs of bodily trauma make Otzi an unwilling contender for the title of oldest known murder victim. An inauspicious accomplishment at best, I guess. Having met a violent death, followed by being stuck in an icy tomb for several millennia, may have given Otzi a bit of a chip on his shoulder. Or should I say, an arrow in his shoulder.
Oh, brother, this guy stinks!
Point is, there might be a curse surrounding our Copper Age homicide victim, and it claimed several people that were connected in some way to Otzi. The so-called curse of our iceman took hold in 2004, when Helmut Simon, one of the German tourists that found Otzi, died when he was hiking near the spot where he first found the frozen husk of Otzi, and was caught in a sudden blizzard. Was this the mountain claiming a new body to replace the one they took? Who knows? The bad luck didn't stop there though. In a weird follow-up coincidence, an hour after Simon's funeral, Dieter Warneck, the man who led the rescue team for Simon, died of a heart attack. A year later, Konrad Spindler, an archaeologist that was one of the first experts to analyze the iceman, died from complications of multiple sclerosis, a disease he was diagnosed with not long after analyzing Otzi's remains. Next in line was the forensic examiner of Otzi, Rainer Henn, who died in a car crash supposedly en route to a lecture he was going to give about the ice mummy. Kurt Fritz, a mountaineer that was part of the Otzi recovery operation, died in an avalanche. The filmmaker Rainer Holz, who documented the retrieval of the ice mummy, died from a brain tumor. And finally, Tom Loy, the molecular biologist that identified different blood types on Otzi's clothes and tools, which would change the narrative of the Iceman's demise from a hunting accident to a deadly skirmish, died from the complications of a blood condition, never finishing the book about Otzi he was writing at the time. This all adds up to 7 deaths in a span of more or less a year. A string of bad luck that's merely coincidental, or the curse of a vengeful ice mummy that was removed from his natural resting place, frozen in time. Hard to tell, but you can't deny it's quite a chain of very unlucky circumstances. And what about Otzi himself? Well, he's chilling, quite literally actually, in a room that's kept cool in the South Tyrol Museum of Archaeology in Bolzano, Italy, where he is the star of the place with 3 floors dedicated to the frozen Copper Age man. To this day, hundreds to thousands of visitors annually visit the museum to have a peek at one of the oldest and best preserved human mummies ever found. Meanwhile, Otzi is silently watching humanity pass by, forever frozen in time.